The FX798T is a combination video camera and video transmitter packed into a tiny housing that can be mounted almost anywhere. The camera has 600 TV line resolution with a wide-angle lens, 90 degrees horizontal. The transmitter is 5.8 GHz 40 channel including raceband, and it pushes out a moderate 25 milliwatt signal through an included circular polarized antenna. Tmart.com currently sells this unit for about $40 US, and it's shipped from the US warehouse, so you don't have to wait for the slow boat from China.
I was asked to review a new product from Tmart, and they asked if I could make it work on an H8 Mini. And I said, sure, I'll give it a shot. So what it is a teeny tiny little camera and VTX or video transmitter all in one, 40 channels, runs in your typical 5.8 gigahertz, and it runs on 2.5 to 5 volts, which is conveniently 1S. Because hey, this battery runs at 3.7 volts when it's full. So, a few features, plug and play, lightweight, 40 channels with raceband, can't tell what's under there, something instead of switch. FXT technology, brand name, model number 798T, and the FXT technology again. So let's set this stuff aside. Just take a look at this guy. And yes, it really is that small. For comparison, here's a standard USB plug right next to it. This thing's tiny. So, well, grab some foam. I don't want to break it. Inside we got some more foam. Got a little user's manual. Pretty straightforward, super small, lightweight, 5 bands, 40 channels with raceband, easy install, plug and play, button control instead of a switch to change channels. That's what it says on the box. So it actually looks like it's written pretty well. It doesn't look like it's got bad translations or anything like that. And then you've got a nice table of all the frequencies that are available to you. So let's look at the actual unit. Okay. Like I said, this thing is tiny. I mean, here's some comparisons. Everybody sees a USB port all the time. So, we've got the Cloverleaf antenna. That's great. That should give us some good range. It comes with a little lens cap. And up top, there is a tiny button. And looks like several sets of LEDs right across there. You get 5 for each band and then 8 for each channel on each band. And then real small printed on there, FX798T version 1.0. And obviously this is your connector to your 1S power source. So we'll use the screwdriver that came with this since it's handy. I suppose first I should label these props and take them off. Just get a little permanent Sharpie. I'll put a B on there. And then they just pull straight off. You should probably do that before you take the screws out. I should mention that super glue or cyanoacrylate doesn't do anything to this plastic. It just does not stick. If you crash yours hard enough, or in my case, get stepped on, don't even bother with the CA glue. It's not going to work. So we should be free now. I don't see any other screws. We'll go ahead and start separating it. Push the motors down in. As you can see, it's broke. So, well, the CA will stick to the motor. There we go. You can see the residue from the cyanoacrylate glue, super glue, whatever you want to call it. And then there's the antenna. Some people have gone to lengths of drilling a hole in the top to allow the antenna to stand out to get better range, because I only get about 40-50 feet range outdoors, line of sight, with it laying down flat. So I may try and stand it up and we'll see what happens there, see if that gives me some better range. Maybe fly it down the street, see what happens. So it looks like it'll be very easy to tap in for power on either side of the board. Could go on the bottom side if I wanted to as well. So we'll mark where we want the antenna to be, about right there in the corner of the dome. Alright, so I went and got a drill, just the drill bit, and we'll see if we can just cut right through here. No need to use power tools on plastic this soft and this thin. And we're through. Okay, so let's see if I got that right. Perfect. So, if you want to drill a hole for the antenna, there's your mark right there at the end of that line. That is the perfect spot for your antenna. So, since we're modifying this white one that's already broken, we'll go ahead and cut into the dome so that the camera can kind of sit down in there a little bit. We'll see how deep we can go here. Not very. So we'll just cut a notch the width of the camera. So we'll just kind of ballpark it there. And alright. Just make a few slow, steady cuts, and we're through. Alright, it's a convertible. Looks like it didn't quite cut it deep or wide enough. Not really sitting down in there. Okay, so bust out the soldering iron and let's get this show on the road. First up, I'm going to cut this guy off. Not exactly the right size. This is like 24 gauge wire, but the stripper's only going down to 22. So we'll just do it at an angle. And it's good enough. It's too close. Let's go to the other side of the board. A little bit safer over here. It ain't pretty, but it'll work. Let's test this guy out and see what we've got. What I got here is a 3-cell 20C, just a simple small transmitter pack. I actually use it for my VRX, which I have here. This is very homebrew. I've got a little 5-inch screen and a Boss Cam receiver in there, RC3 832. It's only 32 channels, but it's good enough for what I do. Alright, after much fiddling with the VRX and everything, we have video. This guy's getting a little bit warm in my finger, but not horrible. So, we'll go ahead and put this guy back together and see how we do. It's actually a very clear picture. Pretty good detail. You can read stuff off the yellow box back there. And let's just put something in front of it that's got words. And I don't know if you can see it in the screen there, but you can read the Radio Shack, you can read the catalog number, you can almost make out the 6040 on there, rosin core. So, alright, let's put this guy back together. And I didn't even notice there were shorter ones. Those are probably the ones at the outside edge. it would be advisable to not smush the wires. There we go, now it's inside. Don't want to put pressure on the chips. Okay, and we have a nice horizontal mount. So let's cut a couple of strips of tape. Alright, so we get some rubbing alcohol. Let's try and clean this up a little bit so it'll stick. Okay, it is tacked on there. So we'll just hold it for a second to get it to actually adhere. Remember, we labeled these. And we just barely press them on until they kind of click a little bit. They need to spin free. Looks like they're nowhere near the wires, so we're good there. Alright, we're good. We're not hitting the lens or anything, and everything looks nice and pretty. So, let's do a test. Make sure our throttle's down, and plug it up. Okay, we have video. There we go. We have a nice view right between the front props there. And let's see. Looks like I got it pretty well centered straight there. Alright. And it's funny how the wide angle lens makes those arms kind of curve in a little bit. So let's see how well it flies. Whoops. Alright, we got video again. So, let's give it another whirl. That sounded nice. Alright, so a lot of people think it's a good idea to fly at night. Well, it's like 3 in the morning. And you can see it's pretty dark out here. Let's let the dog out. But we'll go ahead and put this guy down. And all I have here is the porch light on. So we'll see how well it does once it gets out into real darkness. Hopefully we can see this okay. Oh crap. That fell all the way downstairs. I can't see it. Let's see. The dog's gonna go check it out. Oh, okay. Snagged on the wall. No, should be fine.
Hello.
You got a diary?
Yep.
Wow!
Hey!
Where'd it go?
It's way up there. It's having a hard time with the wind because it's so little.
They can see me. You can see me. Wow. Oh! Look, you can see all that city. You see that? Where'd it go?
Way up there.
Oh!
I think this is really good addition to the H8 Mini. It's not hard to do. It's a pretty good little FPV machine just for playing around in the house and learning how to fly. It'll definitely let me practice flying FPV a whole lot easier than getting out the big 250. Because this one is a little harder to fly inside. So, you know, minor differences here and there.